Alrighty guys, we're here for the Bulldogs versus the Tigers. The game starts actually right now, so I just got in time. First tap comes down from Nankervis to Prestia, and now Bolton will get the first clearance. Oh, wait a minute. Is this on the right channel? Yeah, alright. I don't know why I came up with that. Oh, that's why. Alright, we're all good. So at the moment we're up near the Bulldog, okay now. So of course, retro round 4, the Bulldogs are wearing the Footscray Guernsey. It actually looks quite nice, I actually enjoy it. Little tap down there from English, coming through is Taranto. Got the handball at the back, did well. Now McIntosh. Little tumbling ball down the wing, but it'll go out of bounds on the full, so the Bulldogs will get the free kick on the defensive side of the outer side wing. So now Williams will take the kick here for the Bulldogs down the wing. Takes his time though, eventually goes long with the kick. Packer players go up. Young did well, spoiled it forward, good 20 metres. Just got out of the reach of McIntosh and did well there. So free kick back behind the ball there was for the Bulldogs. But Liberatore gets it long, and Caleb Daniel takes a contested mark up forward. That's a massive mark there from Caleb Daniel. To take a contested mark against anyone in the competition is pretty big. But he does very nicely there on Jaden Short, who's came back into the team this week. He just pushed him under the ball there and did very nicely. He took the mark. So Caleb Daniel been a little bit quiet last week. Big chance to get the first goal of Friday night. He comes in, not much angle to speak of, kicks for the goal. Great start there for the Doggies. Whoever wins this one tonight keeps their finals hopes alive. The loser is out of the finals race. And a great start for the Dogs. So good start here for the Dogs, but Richmond pretty disappointing last week, and so were the Bulldogs, losing a close one to the Giants after having a very good lead. So a big game for the both teams. English wins the ruck down. Bontempelli up against Taranto is going to be a bigger contest. Good work there from Bontempelli to get the ball forward. Bounces towards about 60 metres out. Good play there from Vlosten. Causes the turnover. Now Taranto at the back towards Broad. He gets a bamble towards the toes of McIntosh. That was poor. So he gives it back to Broad. Makes it his problem. Kick down the wing there from Broad. Goes out on the full. Very scratchy start here from the Tigers. Not the biggest fans of playing at Marvel Stadium. And not the best start to this game. So now Johannesson will get the free kick on the outer wing. Goes long with the kick down towards the forward 50. Young gets in front, but a great mark from behind there from Lobb. Stuck his hands up, and when he gets his hands up there, Rory Lobb, no one can spoil that. Got his long levers. Don't know if he'll be able to kick it from this distance. He's a long way out from goal, outside 50. He looks like he's going to line up now, though. So Lobb comes in. He plays on now. Kicks it towards the top of the goal square. Packer players form. Norton pushes his player onto the ball. Broad did nicely and eventually fumbled through for a behind. But the Bulldogs have started off very nicely. Have been a pretty good starting team throughout the season, though. So they have to keep it up today. We've seen a lot of times the Bulldogs concede multiple goals very easily in a very quick amount of time. So have to make sure tonight they have to be on for the whole game. So Jaden Short now will take the kick in. Long tumbling ball. Not the best looking kick out towards the broadcast wing. English did well to spoil it away. But Poulter pushed past it way too easily from Ross, but the handball's turned over. Bontempelli runs to 50, looks towards goal, aims inside. Nice little kick there, finds Jamara Ugelhagen. Great work from the Bond. He's been in some brilliant form this season. A little bit poor there from Poulter to let Ross get the ball, but the handball from Ross was not good enough. Easy cut-off play there from Bontempelli, and a chance here for the Bulldogs to get their second very early on. The Jamari Ugle-Hagan comes in. Kick is dead straight. Bulldogs got 2 early ones. Ominous starts early. The Richmond look very off at the moment, and the Bulldogs have started off very well. So it looks like they're going with the three-pronged tall forwards tonight with Lobb, Jamara, and, of course, Aaron Norton. So it's going to be very interesting to see how those three play. They actually separated quite well there. Lobb went to the goal square, Norton went to the pocket, and then Jamara Ugle-Hagan led back inside. Really good separation from the three key forwards, and we've seen this year that it can actually work 3 tall forwards, but they've got to separate. Bad bounce there from the umpire. It will be recalled. So Richmond just need to get some clean ball at the moment. Their disposal has been woeful so far. English gets a little tap out the back towards Liberatore. Just gets the hands free. Did nicely. Now Bontempelli to Johannesson. Doesn't have too many options, so he looks to go switch it now. Dre takes the mark, gives the handball immediately. The Dogs want to go with speed. In short now to Treloar. Gets the 1-2 there, Richards. And now he kicks the ball forward. Long kick towards the top of the goal square. Coming up is Waitman. Great mark in front though from Bolter. Cuts it off. So now Bolter looks to switch it, goes to Short. Now Short to Banks, who was the late inclusion for Dylan Grimes, who wasn't laid out for the Tigers. So Banks, long kick down the wing, hugs the boundary line. Pickett got up, just let the ball behind him. Wasn't the best play. Bauer does nicely inside. Now Hopper towards Taranto. Kick down the wing, wasn't the best, but McIntosh read it nicely. They can get it forward now, the Tigers does well. Now Rewald. Wilson goes inside the forward 50. It's a great kick, diving down nicely. Just couldn't take the mark on the ground there. Now Nankervis just gets the push in the back. He'll get the free kick. So free kick for Nankervis against Tim English. About 45 metres out. Slightish angle. Coulthard just couldn't reach that mark there. But so now Nankervis, slight angle, runs out a little bit to the left, then overcompensates and hooks it across goal. Spoiled nicely there from Liam Jones. Makes that minor score a certainty. So first score of the night there for the Tigers. So now the Dogs go again with speed. Inside. They're out towards the wing already with Bailey Dale. Short kick inside's nice. He finds Bailey Williams, has time to turn and go. Finds Aaron Norton on the lead. Back 2 good kicks away from goal. Norton immediately, Wilson goes. Long ball towards a free Roy Lobb, who gives off the handball to Jamari Ugle-Hagan. He's got 2 quick ones. Bulldogs with a fire start at Marvel Stadium. And this is ominous here for the Tigers. They're not stopping any of this run at the moment. There's only been, there's only been, 5 minutes, just under 6 minutes of playing time. And the Dogs are all over the Tigers at the moment. Got to be a lot better with the pressure here, the Tigers. They're just letting their teammate, their opponents just have way too much space. That was one of the easiest transitions from back 50 to forward 50 that I've seen this year. And this is against a team who's fighting for the finals in the Tigers. Too easy there for the Bulldogs. So we're back in the middle. One down there by English. Taranto couldn't grab it cleanly. Bontempelli always does. Out the back towards Liberatore, and he gets the ball forward. Tumble punt towards Norton, but then that gets out the back towards West. If he gathers it cleanly, he's home, and that's what he does. Riley West gets the 4th goal for the Dogs in the space of 5 minutes of game time. This is a pretty big start here for the Bulldogs. Bontempelli's been all over it early, along with Liberatore. Just getting easy ball. that these guys should not have. These guys have got the big names this season, and they're just dominating so far. Andrew McWalter not looking too impressed at the moment with his team. I mean, that's just been terrible football so far. Every single time they get the ball, it's no pressure on the football. They're fumbling. Their disposal is woeful at the moment, the Tigers. They really need a lift right now. So back in the middle, Soldo's taking the ruck roll. Gets a little tap down. Bontempelli does gather it, but immediately met by Soldo. Be another stoppage. Lob knocks it down, coming through Smith, just left it behind though. Now Soldo can't get the hands free. Bailey Smith did well to cause the tackle. Another stoppage in the middle. Soldo probably held by the arm there, wasn't paid. Lob gets a little tap out the back from the bounce. Now Bontempelli kicks it forward. Ugelhagen probably pushed his opponent in the back, wasn't paid. Now the Dogs get the ball again. Scott off to McRae, hooks it across goal, wasn't the best kick, and now Bolter takes the intercept mark and immediately goes. He wants to go quickly on the counter. The kick down the wing wasn't the best, but Vandermeer let it go. Now Coulthard, long kick towards Rewalt. Did okay, caused the contest. Soldo gets it forward, trying to find Cumberland. Now Coulthard gets the ball forward into the pocket here for the Tigers. Does well there, was Jones, and knocks it out of bounds. Big inclusion for the Dogs this week, Liam Jones. So forward pocket here for the Tigers. They really have to put on a lot of pressure here. They can't just let this waltz out of there easily, as they've done the few times already in this game. Soldo tries to get the ball out of there, but immediately met by two Dogs. Another stoppage. Lob gets a little tap out the back. Bontempelli just couldn't get a clean handball away. Now Presser in the pocket. Hooks it back towards the top of the goal square. Great mark from Ross. That's better from the Tigers. Prestia did nicely to send that ball, and Ross came in very nicely, took the mark. And a chance here for the Tigers to just settle a few nerves. Bontempelli, that was better pressure there on the Bont. The Tigers just immediately in his face, so he couldn't get a clean handball away. So now Ross, straight in front, 20 metres out. Won't have a problem there. Tigers get there first. And the fans of the Tigers take a deep breath after that blistering start from the Bulldogs. So the pressure's definitely lifted around the ball there from the Tigers. That's what happens when they cause those sort of forward half turnovers. Goals will happen, and that was very nice there from Prestia. Could have gone for goal, obviously, but a little check side kick to the centre was very good as well. Very smart player there, Dion Prestia. Great kick. So back in the middle, Soldo taking the ruck roll again. It looks like Niankurvis may have pushed forward here. So back in the ruck, Soldo, little tap down. Liberatore just couldn't get onto that ball. Probably got a high one, though, so he'll get the free kick. So Liberatore immediately gives off the handball to Dale. Stepped outside, then came back inside. Did nicely. Kicks the ball forward. Go under a little bit there, Norton. But out the back is Jamara. Great handball to West. Now Bailey Smith. Across the face, through for behind. So Bolter, long kick down the wing. Not the best looking kick. Jones couldn't gather it. Immediately met by Cumberland and Graham. They drag him to ground. It'll be a stoppage on the boundary side wing here at Marvel Stadium. Then Curvis, little tap out the front. Graham just couldn't gather it. Liberatore did nicely, fought for it hard. Got the ball forward. Can't win it there, but Daniel did nicely to tap it forward towards McRae. McRae now finds Scott, and Scott, long ball towards the top of the goal square. One-on-one is Jamara Ugelhagen. Bolter did well. Taps it towards the boundary line. Keeps it in, though. Ugelhagen drags him out of bounds. Great play there from the Bulldogs. So forward half stoppage here for the Dogs. Right in the forward pocket, probably land about 20 metres out from goal. Nankervis wins it down though. Ross immediately met by Norton. Be another stoppage. So Lob taking a lot of the forward ruck roll tonight. Knocked it forward though as Nankervis. Now Taranto gets the clearance. Bounce. Favoured Jones. Immediately drives it back inside the forward 50. Packer players form. Bolton did nicely to spoil it away. And now on the counter, Prestia. If he grabs it cleanly, he's away. But he just fumbled. Great tackle from McRae, but he just got the hands free. Now Nankervis turns it over. Vandermeer slams it back inside the forward 50. Up goes Ugelhagen. Great pressure there from Bolter. Lob did well to get the hands free. Young immediately met by Smith. Now off the ground, Aaron Norton. Soccer's at home. The World Cup's here in Australia at the moment. And Norton's showing off his class. They're all over them, the Dogs, at the moment. The Tigers are in all sorts. Great work just to fight and claw their way towards that goal there, the Dogs. They would not let that ball get outside of their forward half. And eventually the Tigers broke. So back in the middle. English wins it down. Coming through there is Hopper. Didn't want to grab it. Just socked it off the ground. Went up about 30. Went forward about 20. Now Trelaw did well. Gets the handball forward. Poulter. Now they go here. The Dogs again. McRae gets the ball forward. One-on-one is West. Just gathered it nicely. Clean handball. Now Scott centers it towards the top of the goal square. Ugelhagen and Broad fight for it. McIntosh did poorly and Ugelhagen sockers one home. He's got 3 early goals and they are all over the Tigers. What was that from Camden McIntosh? Tried to slap it through for a rush behind, but didn't even hit it with any sort of power. Didn't go anywhere near the goal. It just went straight to the goal face where Jamar Ugelhagen, easy soccered goal. But Riley West, that was very clean from him as well. If he doesn't get that handball off to Scott that cleanly, that goal does not happen. So he did brilliantly there. And a 31-point lead to the Dogs with still 10 minutes of playing time in this first quarter. Three early goals for Jamar Ugelhagen. A great start from him. Back in the middle though, Prestia gets a little handball out the back towards Graham. He gets it forward. Long kick towards the forward 50, but did well there, Duray. Now Johannesson, little kick inside, finds Daniel. So now Daniel immediately goes there. Just every single time they get the ball here, the Dogs, they immediately look for the handball receive. So now to Vandermeer, gives it straight off to Johannesson, who gets dragged down by Pickett. That's holding the footy. Every time the Bulldogs want to go tonight, they immediately give off the handball after taking a mark. And that was their downfall there, but it's looked good early. So now Pickett, absolute mongrel kick down the wing. Poulter gathered it nicely. Little handball over the top, finds Smith, who goes against the grain towards Daniel. Now inside finds Richards. In short, they probably went about 5 metres, but they paid it nonetheless. Back in the team, Ed Richards tonight. A lot of good inclusions for the Dogs. And all of them started off pretty nicely. Richards almost got blindsided, but eventually saw that play. Then works it out wide, finds McRae, who wants to immediately give it off. Out the back, working it forward now, the Dogs. Great kick, finds West, who started nicely. He's looked very clean with the footy. Immediately drives it into the pocket. 2-on-2 lob. Absolutely dropped the sitter. Now Bolter fumbled it though, but Liberatore just gets the hands free. Lob back to Williams. Jams it back towards the top of the goal square. English gets there. Can't take the mark. Now Scott. Great tackle from Prestia. Drags him down. And that'll be another stoppage just inside the forward 50 of the Dogs. English will tap down, press here to McIntosh, who gets the clearance outside the defensive 50. But there's so many Dogs around this play, they can just work it through hands, which they do. Richards to Johannesson. Now Williams. Went to go right there, worked on his left, did well, but great tackle from Hopper. He wasn't falling for it. Now Duray towards Johannesson, who went out of bounds. Great pressure there from the Tigers in that situation. Some free kicks being given away here for the Dogs. But now Daniel from 40 runs towards goal and the Doggies got another. That one really hurts the Tigers. I want to know what that free kick was for. So Caleb Daniels got 2. So what was that free kick for? That's not a free kick. Fuck me. That was piss poor. That was not a free kick whatsoever. But nonetheless, the Dogs have another one. English wins it down to Bontempelli. Just couldn't gather it though. Now Helper did nicely to Prestia. Gets it forward. Long kick. Dre couldn't mark it. But he will get the free kick though. And if Enemy Michi wants to go. Out towards Poulter and now Dale. They've got the overlap in the Dogs. Trelaw. He's got Bontempelli inside. Not the best kick though. Cut off well there from Graham. Nankervis gives it straight back to Graham, who's immediately met by the pressure. And gets dragged down and gets a reprieve from the umpire. Nankervis, a little knockdown towards Smith, who almost threw that away. And then got another free kick. The Dogs getting all the free kicks at the moment. Smith immediately went to play on and then left the ball behind. Handball at the back was poor. Coulthard did well. Now Graham doesn't have many options to go to, so he just kicks a little ball inside, finds Bolton. They need a spark from this guy. Gets the handball over the top towards Bauer. Just left the ball behind, but did well to fight back for it, but then Dre drags him down. That's holding the footy. So Dre will get the free kick in the defensive 50. Goes in short and finds Dale. This is the first time the Bulldogs have taken a breath for this whole quarter. Dale, down in short, finds Bailey Smith. They've got to man them up here, the Tigers. This is really poor. Now Vandermeer thumps the ball towards 50. Bolter just couldn't mark. Well on there from English to tap it forward. Rioli goes to ground. Eventually goes back onto it. Gets a little handball at the back, but a turnover again. Norton off to Waitman. This is a blistering start from the Dogs. That's 8 first quarter goals. Cody Waitman gets in the party. This is a terrible start by the Tigers. My God. This is a woeful start. So now Waitman gets to the goal, but again, just driving the ball forward here, the Bulldogs. And the Tigers just going to ground, fumbling, terrible disposal. It's just a terrible performance from the Tigers in this first quarter. And the Dogs just leading this game in every facet of it. Little tap down coming through from English. Trelaw. Bontempelli, easiest clearance you'll see. Gets the ball forward. Great spoil there from Rioli. Gets out the back though. Trickles towards the boundary line and seen out of bounds. Forward pocket here for the Dogs. Still 6.5 minutes to go in this first quarter. And the Tigers could not have had a worse start. Umpire lobs it back in. Soldo in English. Soldo wins it down only as far as McRae. Couldn't get there though. Waitman left it behind. Now Prestia towards Graham. They get the clearance here, Graham. Long ball towards centre wing. Bauer in a one-on-one. Great mark from Bauer. That was more cleaner hands than he had moments ago. Doesn't have too many options though. Immediately met by a great transition there from the Tigers. And the kick inside was poor from Bauer. Cut off by McRae. McRae goes out wide, he immediately turns it back over for a moment, but Bauer thumps it out of bounds instead. Still just under 6 minutes to go in this first quarter. Bulldogs have absolutely destroyed the Tigers early. Soldo, a little tap down. They get a little soccer off the ground, but Bontempelli meets it. English towards Treloar. They got the overlap again here, the Dogs. Smith over the top. Now they just got one more kick and they're home here, the Dogs. Lob inside. Great kick. Finds him. Rory Lobb, a chance here for the 9th goal of the quarter here for the Dogs. Ugle-Hagan, great little kick inside. They're on the right boot. Don't really see that very often from him, but it was a great kick. Low ball, no defender could even get there, even if they were near lob, which was not the case. And this is just going to be an absolute demolition job at the moment. The Tigers look in all sorts, and Rioli's coming off the ground now with a leg injury at this stage. So lob comes in, a little bit left out to the right. Can't sneak it back through for a behind. So Vlosten in short. Tigers still in the defensive 50, so much slower than the Dogs at the moment. Kick goes long towards the wing. Jones in front, just left it behind. Duray slapped it forward. Jones did nicely on the ground. Now Bontempelli, high ball towards 50. Waitman meets it. So does Lobb, couldn't mark it. Now McRae tries to get the handball away. May have had his prior there. Gets away with it. Good tackle there from Cumberland. 44-point lead to the Dogs at the moment. Still 4.5 minutes to go. Soldo wins it down. Bontempelli tried a basketball bouncer to himself, but a great tackle on Baker. He wasn't letting him go. Another stoppage, about centre half forward at the moment. Soldo takes it out of the ruck. Little kick forward. Got leg though, Soldo, so we'll get the free kick. Soldo kick down the wing. Good kick finds Bolton. He needs to really get into this game, being so quiet early. Banks back to Bolton. Looks to switch across 50. Good kick. Finds Ross, who's the only goal kicker for the Tigers so far. Goes in short and he finds Tim Taranto. And to say this is a much needed goal for the Tigers is an absolute understatement. Kicked 11 goals, 3 from set shots so far this year, Tim Taranto. So been good in front of goal. Kicked 18 goals in the 19 games so far. He'll kick on 50. Taranto comes in. Doesn't get a good connection at all. Land in the forward pocket. Up goes Pickett. Fisted away. Bolton. Let that go. Should be gone and is. Liberatore will get the free kick in the defensive 50. Bulldogs are all over the Tigers at the moment. It's really poor to see a team like the Tigers, who are fighting for a final spot tonight, keeping their finals hopes alive, are just diminishing by the minute. Bolter down the line, just couldn't mark it. Out the back, Vlosten, now short. Gets the ball forward. Coming across there's Liam Jones. Great mark. Great to see him back. So Jones now drives the ball long towards the boundary side, the broadcast wing. Lob did well. Fisted it away. Treloar dragged down by Graham, and it'll be a stoppage. Still 2.5 minutes to go. Bulldogs would love another one. The Tigers, at this stage, just need the siren to go. Umpire throws it up again. Soldo, little win down to press here. Dragged down by Liberatore and McRae. Another stoppage. Soldo thumps it forward a good 10 metres. Now Bolton gets out of the tackle nicely. A chance here to get the ball forward. Inside out, a job towards Cumberland. Gets the sport away from him. Baker around the body towards the top of the goal square. Rewalt overran it. Now Coulthard just couldn't bring it down. Now Treloar kicks the ball out of the defensive 50. Weird looking bounce. Waitman thumps it forward towards Ugle-Hagan. He just left it behind as well. Young, great tackle there from Jamara and Waitman. Bring him down. How you doing, Ben? What are you up to tonight? Soldo knocks it down as far as Williams, and then threw it away. It should be gone. Free kick to the Tigers. Soldo gets the free kick, immediately gives it off towards Short. He wants to get the ball long now, give the Tigers a chance. Rewalt in a one-on-one. Great work from Jones. Gets the fist away, but now Baker gets it towards Rewalt. Chance here for the Tigers. Rewalt gets the goal. Much needed goal for the Tigers to get their second. Jack Rewalt's on the board. Great work to get that ball forward. It was unlucky there from Liam Jones. Had a really good start to this game. And actually got a spoil away from the one-on-one from Jack Rewalt. But then he just responded a little bit quicker. And the Tigers down by 38. And the one thing the Bulldogs are known for is conceding a lot of goals very quickly. So, and especially in big bursts. So the Tigers definitely aren't out of this one. But they've got to definitely lift around the ball. Soldo takes it out of the ruck. Spun 360. Probably should have been pinned for that. Now Bonton Liberatore fighting for it. Gets the handball out nicely. English. Spirals the ball towards the forward 50. Norton in front. Just couldn't bring it down. McRae. Fumbled it towards Jamari Ugle-Hagan around the body. Goes across the face. Towards the right pocket. Sorry. Brain fart. And it goes, hits the boundary post. The point post. And it's through for an out of bounds throw in. Fuck me. Just had my fucking Kelly Underwood moment there. Soldo couldn't get the little tap down towards Short. Kick towards the defensive 50. Up goes Coulthard. Gets the free kick for his trouble. He's had a pretty lively start, Coulthard. He immediately gives it off to Short. They want to get a little bit of run themselves here, the Tigers. Hooks it across his body there, Short. That was a terrible kick. Dre easy to cut that off. Johannesson keeps it in bounds for the moment. Eventually gets out of bounds. So 46 seconds to go in the first quarter. Bulldogs have had a massive start led by Jamari Ugle-Hagan, Bontempelli, probably the whole 22 at this point. They've been brilliant. Solid little tap out the back towards McRae, dragged down, probably in the back there from Banks, wasn't paid. Liberatore to Poulter. Long high ball towards goal. Jamari Ugle-Hagan takes the mark. Just outside the goal square. Brute strength on Broad. Massive mark there from Jamari Ugle-Hagan. He's got a couple of seconds to... He's got to go quickly if he wants to go around the body because the siren will blow. Around the body he goes. Oh, he just sinks it in. But he's got 4 goals now, Jamara, in the first quarter. Four first quarter goals for Jamari Ugle-Hagan. This is a terrible start from the Tigers. They have been blitzed in this first quarter. So 5 seconds to go in the first quarter. This will probably be the quarter time score. No, it won't because the umpire fucked up the bounce. Umpire throws it up. Soldo thumps it forward. Trelaw will get there first. Gives a little handball at the back towards Bontempelli. And a free kick's been ripped out here. But that will be the quarter time score. Bulldogs with a massive first quarter. That scoreboard on the screen is not a lie. At quarter time, the Bulldogs lead 9-3-57 to the Tigers 2-1-13. I'll bring up the statistics now, guys. Alrighty guys, so quarter time, leading disposal getters on the ground at Liberatore and Marcus Bontempelli. Been up there with the best players on the ground so far. Dion Presti with the 8 for the Tigers, probably been their best if there's been anyone so far. Ugle-Hagan with the 7, and then Adam Treloar with the 7 as well. Probably Jamari Ugle-Hagan's been best on ground, obviously, at this stage of 4 first quarter goals. And then for the AFL Fantasy Watchers out there, we have Jamari Ugle-Hagan with the 58, Liberatore with the 36, Bontempelli with the 35, and Lob and Daniel with the 32, rounding up the top 5. Quarter 1 over, I'm at the footy. Oh, you're at the game, are you, man? Not a very good start, I'm going to be honest with you, but for the Tigers, but I think they can bounce back. They just need to win the ball around the contest. And they need to actually use the ball way better than what they did in that first quarter. Alright, just going to get a drink. I'll be back in a sec, guys. How would you feel if it's the Tigers? Oh, you go for the doggies, do you, Muffin? Very good start from them. Alrighty, guys, so the second quarter is about to get underway right now. Umpire thumbs it down. Here we go. English will tap down towards Trelaw. Gathered it nicely and gets the clearance once again. Story of the first term. Short, couldn't gather it cleanly. Banks coming through, did okay. Now Nankervis gets the free kick. Nankervis plays on and gives it off to Short. He's got some time. Kick out wide's poor. On the bounce towards Ross. He did well to duck away from one, but Scott put on the pressure to Hopper, though. Hopper's handball over top was a really poor one. Nowhere near Taranto. He fought hard, though. Smith inside, not the best handball. He gets it back off the ricochet. Now Liberatore works inside. Johannesson handballs out the back towards Dale. Left it behind and then got dragged down. He could be pinned here. And he is gone. Free kick will go to the Tigers. Hopper's on the ground at the moment, grabbing towards his jaw at the moment. Doctor's with him. He looks okay. Cumberland, low kick inside the forward 50. Great spoil there from O'Donnell on Rewalt. Gets at the back towards Jones. Jones was legged. Probably should have got the free kick. But inside, the Dogs are all on their own. Lob to Vandermeer. Kick inside the middle of the ground to Norton. Up he went with one hand. Couldn't gather it. West. Handballed it forward. Just missed Norton. Now Vlosten to Banks. Banks' kick out towards the wing. Great kick to Pickett. Takes the mark. Now Pickett goes into the pocket. Not the best looking kick. Bolton had to fight hard. Jones to Bontempelli. Handballed over the top towards Richards was poor. Nankervis inside to Baker. Over the top of his head to no one in particular. Was just hoping more than anything. O'Donnell did nicely. Stepped through the traffic with ease. The kick out towards the wing was a bit of an odd one. So running back, tracking it down there was short. Goes inside. A little kick finds Vlosten. Young to Bolter. So at the moment, the Tigers just have the football in the defensive half, but eventually Bolter drives a long ball inside the forward 50. Jones coming across, spoils it away. Coming through his lob, tapped it forward towards Williams. Did well. Now Richards going against the grain. Good smother there from McIntosh. Locks it inside their forward 50. Nankervis wins it down from the stoppage. Is Baker! I think he stuck it home! No, he didn't. Dog. What on there from Ross to cut it off. Locks it inside their forward half. This is great from the Tigers early in the second term. Nankervis wins it down. Liberatore couldn't gather it. Now Ross handballed out the back towards Hopper. Did well to step Liberatore. Broke his ankles. Kick inside the forward 50 wasn't the best though. Jones cuts it off. So now Jones wants to send a long high ball towards the broadcast side. Ugelhagen overran it. Out the back, Liberatore fighting hard against two Tigers. Still going well. Broad did nicely to Banks. Banks handballs it long towards the defensive 50. Puts a lot of pressure on Bolter, who wants to switch it. Good kick finds Vlosten. Vlosten doesn't have too many options, though. Eventually drives the ball inside. Great kick into the middle of the ground. Baker has the football. He immediately goes towards a leading Jack Rewalt. Great play from the Tigers. So Jack Rewalt, he kicked the last goal of the first quarter. He comes in. Looked pretty good. Fades late, though, and goes through for a behind. So now the Dogs, a little bit of problems here. Daniel across goal was poor. Now Pickett, a chance to make the Dogs pay. Here come the Tigers. Good goal from Marlon Pickett. The Dogs a little bit scratchy there. Daniel was under a bit of pressure. His kick across goal was very bad. And then a good sharp goal there from the Tigers. Through Marlon Pickett. So Jacob Hopper's coming off the ground now. He's going to be checked for a concussion test. So, of course, clubs are a lot more cautious of this week, especially seeing Port Adelaide got a $100,000 fine from the AFL for their work last week, let's just say. Nankervis coming through, couldn't bring it with him. Did well, though. Forged the ball forward. Johannesson did nicely to break through. Now Bolton pressured Jure out of it. Ball gets past McIntosh. But now the Dogs have the football. Bontempelli cuts it off. Always looking clean. Long ball towards the forward 50. Lob fighting back. Just couldn't mark it. Norton left it behind, but then got it forward from a foot. Now Lob did nicely to tap it forward. Norton fight towards 3. Great tackle there from Bolton. That's holding the footy. That's better from the Tigers. So immediately they go. Ross, just outside the defensive 50, finds Vlosten. Currently now Hopper is going down the race for a concussion test. Down the wing here is Vlosten. Good kick, finds Baker. At the moment, the Dogs really can't get a lot of the football at the moment. It's looking very 180 of the first quarter. Going forward there was Rewell, couldn't take the mark. Richards dribbles it towards the boundary line. That could be deliberate. And it won't be. So umpire throws it in. Nankervis and English meet. Nankervis will tap out the back towards Ross. Did nicely. Ducked out of the Bontempelli tackle. Going forward. Terrible bounce for a Rewald. Gets out towards O'Donnell, who stepped nicely. Now Jure over the top to Dale. Dale's kick was pretty poor. Did well though, Poulter, to get down to it. Natural lauded Smith. Little kick towards Bontempelli, who takes the mark on the wing. 36 points at the moment. Bontempelli goes inside. He finds McRae, who immediately gives it off to Dale. Dale drives the ball along towards Norton. Great work from Bolter to thump it away, but it will be coming back. Johannesson just couldn't gather it though. Now Baker to Shaw, got the 1-2, back to Shaw, back to Baker. Not a very good kick out wide. Just can't grab it there was Poulter. Just kept them running away from him, and Ross happy to run it out of bounds. Umpire lobs it back in. English knocks it down. Coming through there, Taranto. Try to get a clean handball towards Prestia. Did well to clean it up. Now drives the long ball down the wing. Pushed under it there with Soldo. He'll get the free kick. So Soldo now on the wing. A chance here for the Tigers to get it forward. Soldo runs a little arc. Then sends a high ball towards the forward 50. It's a terrible kick though. Ed Richards is all over that. Takes the mark. Richards back to Jones. Had a brilliant start to this game, Liam Jones. Kick inside. Great mark there from West. He's been so clean in this game so far. Inside to Jure, and now Treloar on the run. Doesn't have too many options. Stepped and then got dragged down by Pickett. Just got the kick forward, but got him high. So Treloar gets the free kick in the middle of the ground. He plays on now. Sends the long ball towards the pocket. English and Norton are there. Good spoil away there from Nankervis. Be an out-of-bounds stoppage inside the forward 50 for the Dogs. Throw in here from the umpire. Soldo knocks it forward, coming through there Taranto. Worried out of it there by Waitman. Then he got worried out of it. Prestia dragged down there from Treloar. Another stoppage. 12.5 minutes to go in this second term. Bulldogs lead it by 36 points, but are yet to score a goal in the second quarter. Only one goal. We've gone to the Tigers. Soldo trying to knock it forward. Eventually trickles out towards Ross. Sends the ball down the wing. Up goes Rewalt. Couldn't gather it though. Probably should have been a lot more cleaner on that. Nankervis tried to break out of one tackle. Then went into another one. Be another stoppage though. English. Little tap down to Bontempelli. Handballed out the back. Not the best handball though. Prestia did nicely. Wanted it more. Then the handball inside was poor, and then Bontempelli wanted it more. Not the best handball to Vandermeer, but he got it back to the Bont. What a great passage of play there from him. Kicked towards the forward 50, got a bad bounce, eventually Lob gathered it, dragged down there from Broad, another stoppage. Sold on English. Both players missed it. Bontempelli tried to tap it to himself, then did it a second time, did well. Poulter to Treloar, dragged down, probably got a throw out there. Then Poulter drags down Pickett, it'll be another stoppage. Treloar down at the moment, gets up a bit slowly, grabs towards his back. Hopefully he's alright. English little tap towards Smith, couldn't get there. Now short, runs away, does well, tumbles the ball forward towards their 50. Rewalt gets at the back of him, Jones. Gathered it nicely, Vandermeer. Good shooting handball out towards Duray. Now the Dogs can go. McRae takes the mark on the wing, immediately gives off the handball to Vandermeer, who gets on his right boot and drives the ball forward. On his own is Norton, who gets up and takes the mark. So Aaron Norton, a chance here to get his third, I believe. I think it's his third, don't quote me on that. But crosses the Telstra logo, kicks towards goal, it doesn't fade back, goes through for a point. That's actually the first score of the second term for the Dogs. So we've lost it in short. Terrible kick to the bounce there for Broad. Did well to get the handball free. And now Banks sends a long ball down the wing. Up goes Bauer. Couldn't mark it. Baker couldn't get it forward. Smothered well. Taranto somehow got the hands free. Now Baker almost dragged down there by Williams. But Liberatore finishes the job and puts him to grass. 10.5 minutes to go in this second term. Rioli's actually finally out from going down to the race. Does well there. Bolton towards Taranto, sends the ball down the wing. Up goes Bauer, looking for the free kick. Got to play the ball there, young man. And then Baker happy to see it out of bounds. Soldo, a little tap towards Bolton. He really needs to get into this game. He's been a little bit so far. McIntosh stepped Bontempelli nicely. Ball towards the top of the goal square. Up goes Pickett, couldn't bring it down. Now Ross, a chance for his second. Dribbles it home. The Tigers are starting to chug along here. Ross has two. Great goal there from Ross. Great work to forge that ball forward there, the Tigers. And they're the more dominant team in this second term. Bulldogs have only got one behind so far. So we're back in the middle now. Lob and Soldo in there. Soldo thumps it forward. Bolton just out of his grasp. Then Liberatore left it behind. McRae taps it forward, trying to find Bontempelli, who left it behind as well. Taranto, little handball away. Great pick up there from Pickett. Now Bolton, looking forward with the kick. It's actually a pretty good option. Now Curvis couldn't mark. Landed like a cat, though, the big man. Spun in well. And then the kick inside of Taranto, just out of his grasp. He just got wrong-footed there. Now O'Donnell handballs over the top towards Poulter. Cumberland, trying to worry him out of it. Then dove on top of it. Could be in trouble here, Noah Cumberland. And he is. Actually, I don't know about that. I think he just got pushed onto it by Poulter. So now Poulter down the wing with a low kick towards Daniel. Don't know about that option. In fact, it's Scott. Now Broad trying to get it out of there. Tapping it away, but now Scott gets it underneath him. He eventually picks it up somehow, and eventually they'll call a stoppage. A little bit of feeling into this one now. Liberatore, a little push around there with Taranto and a few more. Soldo gets the kick out of the ruck. Don't know about that option. Taranto drags down Bontempelli. And he'll get a free kick for a high. So now Bontempelli on the right boot. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Up goes Norton! And in front is Lob. A little bit too easy there for the Dogs. Two of them got hands to it. It was just way too easy. It was a good block there from Waitman on Bolton and give Norton a fair run at it. So now Rory Lobb already had one chance, which he missed. A chance here from 50. That looks pretty good, Rory Lobb. Drives it home. First goal of the second quarter for the Bulldogs. And now they've got 10. Bontempelli currently has 16 touches for the game so far. He's been brilliant, probably been second best behind Jamara Ugle-Hagan at the moment. But he's been massive so far, Bontempelli. Him and Liberatore have been brilliant in the middle all year, really. And I think that's a big reason why I don't know if Bontempelli will be winning the Brownlow, because Tom Liberatore has been massive in there this year and taken a few votes off of him. English still tapped down towards Liberatore, couldn't gather it. Did well Nan Curvis towards Taranto. Sent an inside-outer job towards the forward 50. Got a bad bounce there was Duray. Graham read up nicely. Gets the hands free. Cumberland did well to duck out of the tackle. Great tackle there from Treloar on Taranto. Now Poulter handballs it forward. Taranto tried to tap it forward for himself, and then Poulter does the same for his Dogs. Cumberland working hard onto it. Waitman looking for the high one. Didn't get the free kick. Now Liberatore drives it forward. On the bounce is Broad. Just gathered it, but dragged down there from Scott. Great tackle. Inside the forward 50 for the Dogs, and they're just lifting a little bit more in the second term now. Nankervis wins it down, eventually gets the clearance. Kicked into his own man. Taranto did well. Handballed inside toward Presti, now Banks. Working hard here is Rioli, who's back on the ground. He takes a bounce inside towards Banks. Doesn't have too many options, so he just kicks it down the wing. Good option in the end, though. He finds Coulthard. Wheels around on the right boot and sends a long ball towards Bauer. Just couldn't bring it down, though, the young man. Jones working hard, couldn't gather it. Now in the pocket is Rewalt. Eventually happy to see it out of bounds. So forward stoppage here for the Tigers. Nankervis tried to take it out of the ruck, left it behind. Now Coulthard in the pocket. Little inside outer job. Couldn't get it to come back enough. You! Sorry. So now Treloar in the middle of the ground drives the long ball towards the one-on-one with Weston Floston. Gets out the back. Now lob on his left boot here. West in the pocket. Doesn't get any sort of angle on it. Kicks it. Just sneaks it through for behind. So Banks will take the kick in here for the Tigers. Long ball towards the broadcast side. Up goes McIntosh. Couldn't bring it down. Now Williams. Pickett tackles him well. Didn't really make much of an effort to get it out of there. Umpire calls for a ball up. Still 6 minutes to go on this second term. Tigers have got 2 in it. Bulldogs have got 1. That's goals, by the way. English wins it down. Now, does well there, Williams, to get it out the back. Now Daniel, didn't have any options, so just kicks it around the left boot. Got a little bit lucky. Lands in the arms of Williams. He eventually wheels around and goes. Sends a high ball towards the top of the goal square. West gets it out the back. Can he gather it cleanly? He does. Gives it a handball inside towards Poulter. Great smother there from Ross. But it came off on the full. So now Riley West will take the kick here from the pocket. Chancing for their 11th goal. He's been so good so far, Riley West. Deserves a goal here. He snaps around. Very high. But he gets it home. So for all the Tigers fighting and clawing back into this game, they've both kicked 2 goals for the quarter. Treloar, little handball towards Bontempelli. Great tackle there from Coulthard. Should be holding the ball, and it is. Great job from the young man. Coulthard in short towards Bolton. It gets dragged out from Waitman. That should be holding the ball, and it is. Definitely not 15. Now Waitman plays on immediately. Sends it towards the forward 50 lob. Just out of his grasp. But Broad did okay and then left it behind though. Lob handles it forward. Rioli dragged down there from Western Treloar. And eventually happy to see the umpire call for a ball up. So Jacob Hopper has actually been subbed out with concussion. And Mansell is getting ready to come onto the ground as the sub for the Tigers. That's big. English taps it inside towards Bontempelli. Then he taps it towards Daniel, who gets it forward. Just out of the grasp of Bolter. Tapped it forward though. West did well to Norton. Just gets a little bit of space when the handball was poor. Cut off by Graham. Pressed here. Now to Rioli. His ankle's fine now. Sprinting through Marvel Stadium. He takes a second bounce. Doesn't have too many options. Hooks it across his body. Not the best kick. Now Cumberland gathered it nicely though. Left foot snap. Looks home. Great finish from Noah Cumberland. Tigers have got their 5th. Back to 37 points. Great run there off the half-back line from Rioli. Just got the run in the game there for the Tigers have desperately needed. The kick wasn't the best going inside the forward 50, but Cumberland gathered it nicely, and he's always a pretty good finisher. So 4.5 minutes to go in the second term. English wins it out the back. Liberatore dragged down there from Prestia. Just gets the hands free. Bontempelli did well. Found Johannesson. Now Treloar. Handballs it out wide, finding Dale. He gathers it nicely and then kicks the ball forward. Absolute floater towards West. Almost marked that. There was Banks, and he goes down pretty heavily. Now Liberatore. Soccered it off the ground. It trickles towards 50 as she gathers his own soccer. Then gets the handball towards Poulter. Now Treloar. Drives the ball back inside the forward 50 into the pocket. Waitman going back with the flight, couldn't mark. Now Williams gets the handball free towards Poulter in the pocket. Now Jamara, been quiet in the second term. Gets the handball away. Now Poulter, working hard. Just gets the don't think that was a handball, but eventually Jamara Ugelhagen sees out of bounds. So inside the forward pocket here for the Dogs. English and Nankerv has been going at it pretty much all night. Prestia tried to tap it towards Ross, couldn't gather it. Now Taranto left it behind. Treloar snaps it out of the stoppage towards the top of the goal square. Great spoil there from Young, and he's given away a free kick here, Young. It'll go to Aaron Norton. So Norton gets the free kick, pretty much at the top of the goal square. Shouldn't miss from here. He comes in, nails the goal, and the Doggies have their third goal of the second term. Just keeping that buffer at the moment. The Dogs Tigers just can't get anywhere near them at the moment. I'll honestly that free kick though. English will tap away. Treloar try to get the clearance. Smothered well there from the Tigers. Now Daniel did well. Treloar over the top to Liberatore. Now English streaming through the middle of the ground. Kick inside. Not the best kick towards the forward 50. Short drag down there from McRae. And just inside the forward 50, the Dogs will have the ball. They'll have the stoppage. And Curvis in English. English taps it down towards Short. Gets the kick away, but it's all Dogs here. Just bounces out of the grasp of Treloar. Working hard there was Mansell. Now McRae drags it away from Banks. And eventually umpire calls for the ball. English will tap towards Banks. Couldn't gather it now. Nankervis sends a high, torpy looking kick towards half forward. Great work from Bow to body his player under it, but then left the ball behind. Richards handballs it to the ground of Daniel, but he's usually pretty low to the ground nonetheless. Now Dale breaks past two, gets the handball away towards Treloar. Just got the handball away, but now the Tigers cause the turnover. Rioli to Baker. He sends the ball towards the forward 50. Cumberland running back with the flight. Good mark. Has Bolton inside the forward 50. Not the best looking kick, but Bolton will get the free kick. So Shea Bolton will get the free kick. And a much needed goal going into halftime here for the Tigers. He's been pretty quiet tonight, Shea Bolton. He's always their spark player. A couple of weeks ago against the Swans, he was the big reason why they got back into that game. And a chance here to bring it back to within 37 points. Bolton comes in. Not much of an angle to speak of. About 40 metres out. He's hooked it a little. He goes. They want another one here, the Dogs. Out the back towards Norton. He tries to tap it forward. Did well. He's fighting hard, but then Broad worried him out of it. Did well. Handball inside towards Prestia. Tackle was poor from Treloar. Taranto to Broad. Handball forward was poor, though. Cut off there by the Dogs. Williams towards Vandermeer. Great tackle there from Graham. Just got the handball away. Now Williams just too easy to get past Bolton. Sends the check side kick towards the wing. Ross fighting hard. He's probably been the Tigers' best so far. Treloar handles it back to English, who fumbled it, but eventually had time to get onto it. Now Smith, with 26 seconds to go, they have a late chance in the Dogs. He takes a bounce on the wing, kicks it inside the forward 50 to Norton. Great pressure there from McIntosh. Fighting hard still was Bailey Smith. Great tackle there from Vlosten, but eventually dragged down. And he'll get the free kick. So Taranto takes the mark on defensive 50. He plays on now. Sends a long wide ball. Finds Coulthard. No, in fact, it's Mansell it was. So at half time, the Dogs lead by a massive 42 points. The scores there are 12-5-77 to the Tigers 5-5-35. Appreciate you coming to the stream, Laura. Alrighty guys, so at half time we have Adam Treloar leading all comers with the disposals with the 22. He's been massive in the first half. Bontempelli with the 17 is second, and we've got Liberatore with the 16. Tim Taranto with the 13, and then rounding out the top 5 is Bailey Williams with the 12. And if the AFL fantasy watchers out there, we have Treloar on 69. Lol. Fuck, I suck. Jamara Ugelhagen with the 60 along with Liberatore. 56 to Bontempelli, and then rounding out the top 5 is Rory Lobb with a 54. Alright guys, we'll be back in about 15 minutes or so with the second half. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Boundary Riders podcast. We are now up to episode 22, I believe, so we're getting up there now. We're really pushing towards the end of the season, and what a massive round it was. We saw so many upsets. We saw Carlton beat Collingwood. We saw Fremantle beat Geelong in Geelong. We saw the Giants conquer the Bulldogs after being down by 29 points. Seeing the Gold Coast win the Q Clash, the Crows win the Showdown. So many big upsets throughout the weekend, and we also saw, this is just a few moments ago for me, because I'm recording this on a Sunday, the West Coast Eagles somehow recorded a win. I know it was against the team that was only just above them in North Melbourne, but I thought that North Melbourne were a step above West Coast, but apparently not. But nonetheless, we had a big weekend as well. And the first thing I wanted to cover before we get into the review of round 19 is the umpire dissent rule is back, because no one saw this coming, because no one was told that the umpire dissent rule was coming. I don't think it was shown very much throughout the rest of the weekend other than Friday night. And for some reason, the umpires pulled out a stupid interpretation of it, that if you point at the scoreboard and tell the umpire to look at the scoreboard in not really too much of a demonstrative manner, you can get 50 metres for it. And we saw it twice on Friday night. One was Nathan Murphy, and I can't remember who the other one was. It was a Carlton player, I believe. It was so a while ago now. But just ridiculous. Unbelievably ridiculous. I think there should be an umpire dissent rule in the game, but I think they are not consistent on it, and they don't tell people what you can and cannot do. Like, they tell you one week you can't throw your arms out, then you can throw your arms out and it's okay. They overcorrect themselves, and it's just ridiculous. And to ask the umpire to look at the screen, it used to be in my thought that when a player used to say look at the screen, the umpire would just say, I'm not looking at the screen, mate, I've already paid the decision. And that was all that would happen. I don't think that Nathan Murphy really made a huge deal about it. And I can't believe that was paid, because clearly he didn't know that was going to happen. And that no club was told before the weekend umpire dissent was going to be looked at again all of a sudden. After it started earlier in the season a little bit, but then it hasn't reared its head much throughout the rest of the season, and suddenly now round 20 was the time they'd bring it up. I just think that is so stupid. And of course the umpires should be respected. I mean, I'm saying that as someone, if you're playing the game, just respect the umpires. But on the other hand, it's like, fuck them. Anyway, the umpires. The umpires had no friends as kids. No, let's be honest. I mean, I was told as a kid maybe I should be an umpire because I know the rules very well, but then I realised that I don't. I have a couple of friends and whatever, so I didn't want to be bullied and yelled at. But nonetheless, look, respect the umpires if you're playing local footy or whatever, but if it's AFL and you're watching the game, go at it. I don't really care. As long as you're not being too bad, I don't really give a fuck. But nonetheless, umpire dissent, stupid rule. Like, the way it's being interpreted and the way it was on Friday night was ridiculous. And it really put a scar on the game because I thought the game was really good. Collingwood versus Carlton. We saw Carlton win that game. And before we get into the review of round 19, I've got a new segment for you guys, which we'll get into right now.
Oh, cheers, mate, for that. And I appreciate you giving me a new segment. But my first ever Up Yours has to go to the umpiring department on Friday night. What the fuck is this dissent rule talking about when Nathan Murphy just pointed at the scoreboard and got paid 50 metres? Now, granted, I think they would have got the goal anyway, but what the fuck is that decision? How the fuck is pointing at a scoreboard dissent? The AFL need to seriously look at themselves because that is bullshit and just put a scar on that great game of footy. Shit umpiring, and that's my Up Yours for this week.
Alrighty guys, so I hope you enjoyed the new segment on the podcast, but now we'll get into the review of round 19. And like I said a moment ago, it was a massive, massive round. A lot of upsets. Every single game, I think bar one on Saturday and Friday was actually a upset. I think the Giants may have gone in favourite against the Bulldogs, but I still think that was underdogs. And really, I think there was only one or two games this weekend that were the favourites won. I think St Kilda and Melbourne, and even St Kilda, I don't think they were exactly favourites to win against Hawthorn. I think it was a pretty 50-50 game. So, massive round. It's really good to see, and it's really made the ladder now really, really close. If we quickly take a look at the ladder, we have Collingwood now is 2 games clear. That's pretty well fair. The top 4 now, though, between Port Adelaide, Brisbane, and Melbourne is really, really tight. There's only 4 points between them, and Port Adelaide have a pretty poor percentage. So Melbourne and Brisbane can easily jump them, and Port Adelaide have a pretty tough couple of games now. They've got Geelong and Port Adelaide. They've got Geelong and GWS in the next couple of games, so that's massive for them. Then we've got the Saints sitting in 5th, Giants in 6th, Carlton 7th, and the Bulldogs clinging to 8th spot by 2 points on so many teams coming up now. Geelong, Sydney, Richmond are only 2 points out of the 8. And the Bulldogs have a pretty tough run home, so that will be interesting what happens there. The Crows are clinging by the skin of their teeth at this stage. I don't know if they'll make it, but they do have a pretty easy run home. They do have West Coast left, and they got the Gold Coast next week, so it'll be very interesting how they go. Essendon and the Gold Coast, I think they're pretty far gone now. They're only 1 game out of the 8, however, the percentage is pretty poor, so I just don't know if they'll make it, and then that's pretty much the only teams that can make it now. Freo are pretty much shot, and obviously Hawthorn, North Melbourne, and West Coast, I don't think are making it. But we'll get into the first game of the round, which of course was Collingwood versus Carlton. Massive game from Carlton. Last week I said that Carlton are going to go into this game and get a touch-up, I thought they were going to have a real touch-up, but I'm starting to believe in Carlton, which is a bit shocking considering 7 weeks ago where they were, but they beat up on a couple of teams that they needed to beat up, and suddenly Charlie Curnow has stood up when he really needed to. Like, by himself, no Harry Mackay. He kicked 6 goals. He was massive. Collingwood, it looks like they can... I mean, it shows that they can be beaten if you do keep up the pressure and you take advantage of Darcy Moore not playing very well on his key opponent. Obviously a better defender for intercepts and stuff, but he just got found out on Friday night against Charlie Curnow, especially in that last quarter. A couple of free kicks given away. They may have not been there, but nonetheless, Charlie got in the right position and he was massive in the end. We'll go to the votes now. 3, 2, 1. We have Charlie Curnow with the 3 votes. He was awesome. Nick Newman with the 2 votes, and the 1 vote to Jacob Wiedering. He has definitely stood up in the past few, in the last month and a half, Jacob Wiedering. He's been brilliant in the back half for Carlton, and he's always been a really good defender. But I think probably the start of the year for that midway period, he probably wasn't at his best, but he's definitely stood up in the past 6 or 7 weeks. And if they can continue this, Carlton, because we did see them choke towards the end of last season, I don't think that will be the case, knock on wood. But I think that they are finals bound now because they've got a pretty good run home. And I think it will be very interesting the last 4 weeks. I think it's going to be massive. Collingwood, I don't see too much of an issue here. I think they'll still be able to. I think they've obviously got locked up top spot by now. They've locked up top 2, so I don't think they have to worry about too much. But it does show a little bit of concern that, they can't win games by very much. So we saw in the finals last year, they lost 2 of their finals by under a goal. So they're not exactly unbeatable when the games get close. And in finals, it's going to be interesting if they can stand up to it. But at this stage, I still think Collingwood are the premiership favourites by far. Next up, we get to Fremantle versus Geelong. And Fremantle, they're such a weird team this season. I don't know what's happened to Freo. They had a shocking start to the season, then they had a weird mid-period where they just looked like winning every single game. They beat Melbourne, they beat Sydney, they beat a couple of other teams around them. But then they just dropped off again, and everyone thought that, Freo are just having the bad year. They just won't make finals, and they'll probably just peter away into the sunset. But all of a sudden, they go down to Kardinia Park and have somehow beaten Geelong. And I think I said this last week, that Geelong, they'll make finals because, they have a couple of games at home, and they'll pretty much make it now. And I still think they will because they have the Bulldogs, St Kilda, Collingwood and Port Adelaide. That's the opposite order. Just turn that around. That's their last 4 games. They do have Port and the Western Bulldogs at Geelong. So I'm still banking on them winning them. But they also have Collingwood and the Saints. And I just don't know where the Saints are. I still think they're kind of free-falling. But it's going to be interesting if Geelong make finals at this point because they're not playing good footy. And now Tom Hawkins is injured with a calf. So he could be out for a couple more weeks. And Jeremy Cameron, he kicked 1 goal 5. He's not really in the form that he was at the start of the season. So I don't know with Geelong. It's going to be very interesting. I still think they'll make it, but that's a very poor loss. No matter what it looks like, you shouldn't be losing at home to Fremantle, considering how poor they've been a lot this season. And Chris Scott's got some words to talk to his main, to his experienced players because there were a lot of defensive efforts in that last quarter where I think that they just thought they were going to roll over them, but they just didn't. They didn't roll over them at all. And by the way, I think I've kept on calling this round 19, but this is round 20, the review, so I'm not fixing it. Deal with it. Sorry, I just realised that. Moron. Anyway, next game we get to the... 3-2-1 votes for Fremantle Geelong. Sorry, I'm everywhere today. I've had a tough day. Anyway, 3-2-1 votes. 3 votes to Alex Pearce, 2 votes to Andrew Brayshaw, and the 1 vote to Luke Ryan. Pearce did have a couple of questions asked of him throughout this week, maybe through the last couple of weeks, about his captaincy. I still think he's a very good defender, and in this game he was massive, especially in that last quarter in those final moments. Just was not beaten in the one-on-ones, and he was just insane. One of the best defenders in the comp. I think Freo's best line is their defence, so it was a little bit difficult for him, obviously, earlier on in his career. He had a lot of injuries, but now that he's getting a good, clean run at it, it does show how the quality of Alex Pearce. Andrew Brayshaw, he just backs it up every week. He's been probably Freo's best throughout the year, if it's not Caleb Sarong. And Luke Ryan, he's probably up there in their top 5 for their best in Ferris as well. He's been brilliant off halfback, as he always does. So not really too much to speak of with the votes there. I think that was pretty well obvious, in my opinion. But after that, we get to the Bulldogs versus the Giants, and the Bulldogs have cost another opportunity. I don't know if they make finals now. They've got an awkward run home. I thought they'd beat the Giants down in Ballarat, and look, at halftime or close to the third quarter, they had a 29-point lead, and they just couldn't shut them away. And the Giants now win 7 in a row. Adam Kingsley's just got them humming along nicely, and I don't know if they'll do damage this year in finals, because I don't know if they've got the forward line to stand up, but, if Toby Green's on the way that he's been going lately, they could do anything, the Giants. They're really good to watch. They've got the Swans next week, which is a massive game for both clubs. Giants don't have the easiest run home, but I do think they'll make finals now. They just look so good in form, and they were just massive. And we'll get to the votes now. Toby Green got the 3 votes, 2 votes to Tim English, and the 1 vote to Sam Taylor. Toby Green, I think, is the best player in the comp right now for... I think definitely one of the best... I think he's the best forward in the comp right now. And if you need someone to get your team over the line, I think he's probably the best. Up there with Marcus Bontempelli this year. These guys have just been dragging their teams home in a lot of games. So he's been massive, and I think he's getting up there in the leaderboard for the Riders' Medal at the end of the year, which I've talked about a few times. Tim English is massive in the ruck. He'll get All-Australian pretty well sewn up. He nearly got him over the line, but Kieran Briggs did stand up in the last quarter, but Tim English was very good. And then we had Sam Taylor, who I think, even though he missed a fair chunk of the season, it's pretty hard to deny him not making the All-Australian at this point. He has been massive for the Giants, and I think he is the best key defender in the comp at the moment. I know I was talking about Jacob Wiedering a minute ago, even Alex Pearce, but he has been massive this year for the Giants when he's been in. And I think also that Jack Buckley has been immense this year as well, especially when Sam Taylor went out. He was out of this team even when the Giants got on that big run, and Jack Buckley and him are going to be a lethal combination as the top two defenders in the years to come for the Giants. They can build a whole team around that defense, and yeah, they're going to be big, the Giants. I think in the next couple of years, they could be pushing for maybe an inaugural premiership, in my opinion. They have been massive. Next up, we get to the Suns versus the Lions, and big game for the Suns. They finally broke the Q Clash drought. I think it's been 9 games now where they haven't been able to win it. But they backed it up finally, and I don't know, Brisbane are a bit iffy. They just a bit iffy this season. I don't know what's with the Brisbane Lions. They seem like they're a team that's just going to push, and they look like they could do something this year. But then they just have these weird games where they look so off that you just can't trust them enough. And they did that again. Maybe it's because Lachie Neale got shut down so well, and I'll quickly just mention the votes now. 3, 2, 1. Took Miller got the 3. Ben King got the 2. Noah Anderson got the 1. Now, I know Ben King kicked, I think, 5 or 6 goals. But I gave it to Toot Miller because his role on Lachie Neale, I think, arguably won the game. Lachie Neale got tagged, had 17 I think he definitely had under 20 touches, had no influence on the game. Took Miller, I think he's probably one of the best captains in the comp. He was sorely missed throughout the middle part of this season, Took Miller. Obviously was massive last year. And I think whoever takes over this coaching role, if it's Dimmer Harwick or if it's not, I think they've got a list to push for finals next year and possibly do some damage because they've got a great set of midfielders. They've got a really, really good defence, and their forward line is also pretty good if it functions correctly. So yeah, the Suns are on, and they could do big things. And obviously Noah Anderson was massive as well. So all three of them, big votes. I still think Brisbane will, I think they can actually make the top 2 because Port Adelaide have kind of fallen in the last month. So we'll see how that goes. But at this stage, Brisbane are in a bit of trouble. And the Gold Coast keep their slim finals hopes alive. Next up, we get to Saturday night. And the game that probably wasn't going to be the most talked about by a lot of people actually turned out to be a massive game. Bombers versus Sydney. Sydney had this game well won about halfway through in the second quarter. They had a 37-point lead at one stage. But then they kind of stopped, and Essendon nearly ran over them. They did everything they could, the Bombers, to take over the Swans, but Tom Papley late in the last quarter kicked a ceiling goal, massive goal. They almost gave it up again when they gave Jai Menzie a free kick in the pocket and they had 6 seconds to get there. If the umpire had indicated a little bit quicker, it may have been a little bit different. I don't think they would have scored, but it could have been a little bit more tense for the Swans. But nonetheless, the 3 votes I gave to Zach Merritt, 2 votes to Kyle Langford, and the 1 vote to Errol Goulden. Now I know the Swans won this game, and some people may say because they won, Errol Goulden probably should have got maybe 2 votes, if not 3. But one, Zach Merritt was, I think, the only player in the first half that played really, really well for the Bombers. I think he kept them in it, along with Kyle Langford. Langford kicked 5 goals in the end. He was massive, and I've said this a few times. He is a very underrated player, Kyle Langford. He's kicked over 40 goals this year, which I actually didn't know until the game. But he's been massive for them up forward. Peter Wright as well. He kicked 4 goals on the weekend, but he also lost them the game. The amount of drop marks that guy did in the last quarter was bloody terrible, and it's just not good enough from Peter Wright. He's supposed to be there as a big, tall forward to take those pack marks and take those clutch marks late in games, and he just gloved so many of them and just dropped them on the ground. Even in the first half, when he had a chance to take a chest mark to give him a little bit of hope going into half time, he just dropped it. It was an easy chest mark and he dropped it on the ground. So Peter Wright's got to back it up next week. I think they've got the Eagles who got a win, but I don't think that's going to last. I think they'll get pretty well smashed next week, the Eagles. But yeah, the Bombers, who, they've been in the 8 for the majority of the year, may well have just cost themselves a final spot. And I don't know. I didn't exactly expect the Bombers to make the finals this year at the start of the year, but now I think it would be a pretty big disappointment to the fans to see the Bombers do so well this year for a lot of it, to then capitulate in the last 6 weeks. I think that'd be terrible for the Bombers. But at this stage, I don't know if they'll make it. It'll be very interesting. I think we'll have to have a couple of results go their way, but at this stage, Sydney did very well, and I still don't think the Swans will make it. I'm sorry to the other Swans fans out there like me, but I just don't think they'll make it. I think a couple of the games that they've lost this year, we lost to the Giants earlier in the year, we lost to Port Adelaide by a goal earlier in the year, and we got that draw against Geelong. If we bank one of those wins, I think we probably make it, but yeah, I think that draw against Geelong was probably the biggest one. I think that's probably going to cost us because our percentage is very good, but that draw was just not good enough, and I think that may cost the Swans in the end. Next up, though, we get to the showdown, and my God, the Crows, they can play well at home. But away, I still don't trust them. But they did it at home again. Port Adelaide. Alrighty, guys, we're back for the third quarter now. See if the Tigers can draw this margin back, or if this is too far for them. 42-point lead to the Bulldogs at halftime. Getting the clearance there was Nankervis. Dale couldn't gather it cleanly. Taps it towards Treloar, though. Did well. Eventually wheels around and drives the ball towards the forward 50. Up goes Floston. Good intercept mark from him. So now the Tigers look to switch it. Young kicks it, gets it on the gather, does well. Great work there from Bontempelli to knock it away from McIntosh. Throws it in now, Nankervis, little tap down, Taranto gets the clearance, only a trickling ball towards the wing. Daniel, dragged down there well from Presti, happy to escort him out of bounds. Stoppage here. English working hard on the ground. Tackles Graham to ground. Nankervis little tap down towards McIntosh. Happy to see it out of bounds. So true centre wing right now on the broadcast side. Nankervis wins it down towards Presti. Dragged down from Bontempelli. A little bit of a stalemate early in the third. A lot of stoppages early in the third term. Nankervis always got a high one there from English. Wasn't paid. Now Bontempelli kicks a high ball towards the forward 50. Young working hard over across to get it. Left it behind though. Now Bolter kicked it out on the full. It'll be a turnover. So the Bulldogs will get the free kick just outside 50. So Norton will take the free kick, calling for his teammates to go long to the goal square. And then escorts it towards the top of the goal square, towards Ugle-Hagan, who's been a bit quiet since quarter time. Scott out the back towards Waitman, try to get a high one, wasn't paid. Mansell, good tackle, another stoppage. Throws it up here, Nankervis thumps it away towards the boundary line, a good 25 metres. It bounces out there, Mansell just see it out of bounds. Really unfortunate, the Tigers. Still not manning up there, man. That should have been higher for Nankervis, wasn't paid. Bontempelli out the back towards Daniel. Immediately gets it on the boot, long ball. Up goes Boston, good mark. Wants to give it off towards Short, but eventually just kicks it over the top to Young, and he gets it to Short. He runs off half back. Does well, kicks a long ball towards the wing. Up goes Shea Bolton! Just couldn't get there. Gets out the back. Now Pickett has a chance to get the ball forward. Great kick off the line, finds Cumberland. So this would be a great start to the third quarter if Northumberland can go back and nail this goal. Would bring it back to 36 points. He's already got one tonight. It was a pretty classy goal. He comes in now. A little bit of a stutter step there. And he's hooked it all the way across goal and he's kicked it on the full. And he's grabbed his hammy here. It's not looking the best. So now Dale in short finds Trelaw. Immediately wants to give it back. So Dale running off half back. Sends a low ball down the wing. Great option. Fires Ugle-Hagan. In short, finds Duray. So now Duray sends a long ball down the wing. Up goes Lobb, couldn't grab it. Now Williams working hard, drops it to ground, then working to try to get rid of it. Now McRae, great hands, finds Liberatore, found a little inch of space. Little short ball inside the forward 50. Back with the flight is Bontempelli! He's taken the mark. He looks okay. I can't believe that. That was a solid hit to the midriff. Bontempelli going back with the flight, put the hands up, got tunnelled under that ball and took the mark. So Scott's coming off the ground now for the Bulldogs. He was the player who accidentally tunneled his captain. But a chance here for Bontempelli. Kick the first goal of the second half and give the Dogs a real momentum towards this win. He passes the Telstra logo now, left it out to the left-hand side and sneaks it through for a behind. Long kick towards Bauer. Couldn't take it. Now Coulthard over the back. Just happy to see it out of bounds. English will tap out the back, finds Daniel. Went to go give the handball, but he's always quick-feeded. Now gets the ball inside the forward 50 towards Jamara. Just got out the back of him. Now Vlosten handballs towards Rioli. A lot of pressure on him. Just gets the handball away, but Poulter cuts it off. Left foot ball towards goal. It goes across the face and just bounces in the field of play. Coming through there was Nankervis. Couldn't gather it. Now Liberatore snaps over the top of his shoulder. Goes right up in the air. Didn't go anywhere near forward. Now Norton working hard. Couldn't gather it. Short. Stepped back out of trouble. Did well. Sends the ball down the wing to a 2-on-2. Up goes Duray. Let it out the back. Free kick's been called out. Will go to the Dogs. So now Jones wheels around and goes high. Ball towards the forward 50. Bontempelli almost a push out. Now Graham sends it out of the defensive 50. Takes the mark. Great work there from Mansell to take it on 50. Kick down the wings, a weird one. Try to go to Bolton in a 2-on-1. And he gets spoiled out of his grasp. Shepherd out of there from Nankervis. We'll get a free kick here, the Dogs. Daniel plays on, gives it off to the Bont. Gets in the middle of the ground, sends a low ball towards Lobb. Great kick, great mark. So Lobb will take this ball from about 45 out. So Lobb's had 2 shots tonight. He's missed them both. Comes right Out to on that big arc. Hooks it towards goal. He's hit it. Hit the post three-quarters of the way up. But it's hit for a behind. So Soldo has the ball in the defensive 50. Just doesn't seem like the Tigers look like they want this win at the moment. They don't believe at the moment. 44 points down. I think they can actually feel a comeback here if they're actually willing to go for it. But there's still the slow gameplay that's just not going to get them this win. So now Ross sends a long ball down the wing. Up goes Cumberland and English. English did well to spoil it out of his grasp, and happy to see it out of bounds once again. 13 minutes to go in this third term. No goals yet in it. Bulldogs lead it by 44 points. English will tap down. Coming through was Ross, couldn't bring it with him. Taranto gets the ball forward on the bounce. Graham, great tackle there from Dale. Grounds him down. Now Cumberland, try to get it free. Did well, Poulter. Handled through the traffic, but then Soldo left it behind. Then Poulter tried to tap it forward, couldn't do much with it. So Liberatore overran it. He gets a free kick in the back. In short, Liberatore to find McRae. Wasn't 15, so he just worked it out wide. He finds Dale, who sends a long ball down the wing up to English. Great mark. Strong hands from the big guy. Handled over the top towards West. Inside to Scott. Great little dance set there. In fact, it was Vandermeer. Inside, great kick from Poulter. Just out of the grasp of Lob. Working hard there was Jugelhagen. Dragged down here from Bontempelli. That's holding the footy. Free kick will go to the captain. He's been big tonight. So Scott's going to go down to the rooms here for a check on the head. So Bontempelli had a sider a few moments ago. Had a massive game tonight. Probably has been best on ground now. Jamara had a really good first quarter. Been a bit quiet since. Bontempelli comes in. Drives that one home. 50-point lead to the Dogs. Soldo, a little tap down free kick's going to go to the Tigers. Soldo get the free kick in the middle. Soldo wants to give it off immediately. Now Banks streaming forward. Long ball inside the forward 50. Leading Regal. Great mark. So Jack Rewalt comes in about 40 metres out. Kicks it towards goal. Holds the line just. First goal of the second half for the Tigers. Back in the ruck now. Lob taps it forward. Did well there, Soldo. Just got the boot to ball, only just. Pickett did nicely to Prestia. Now Baker. Low ball inside the forward 50 and finds Cumberland. Should have marked that one in the end, Cumberland. Just left it behind. Tried to worry Richards out of it, but he was very good. Great work there from Cumberland. Probably got it in the back. Should have been a free kick. Wasn't paid, though. So back in the stoppage, sold a little win down only as far as Smith. Just can't get the kick away. Prestia tackled to ground there from Treloar. Soldo wins it down to Prestia. At the back towards McIntosh. Hooks it across his body. Not the best option. And a roll through for a behind. So Richards takes a bounce in the defensive 50. Took a second one straight away after that. Don't know about that option. Sends the ball down the middle of the ground. Weston a one-on-one. Let it trickle out the back. Pickett working hard. Did well to get to it. Did well to tap it to Banks as well. Handball out towards Royoli. Over the top to Pickett. Gets the 1-2. Did well there, the Tigers. Sends it down the middle of the ground. Good kick. He finds Short. Short and Short. Didn't mean to say that, but anyway. The Prestige. Short keeps on running. Did well. He looks to go longer now. Towards the 50. Cumberland got the hands up and then dropped the head. That was poor. O'Donnell inside. Turned it over. Now Baker just couldn't get the handball cleanly to his teammate. And now the Dogs work through hands. O'Donnell to McRae. In short, finds English. Sends it down the wing now. Jugelhagen towards his toes. Did well to pick that one up. Went in middle of the ground. Then wheeled out to the right. Jugelhagen now sends a high ball towards the forward 50. Bontempelli! Takes the mark. And a chance here for his second. So a chance to kick his second here, Marcus Bontempelli. He's been massive tonight. Not much of distance to speak of. A little bit of angle. He comes in. And straight through the middle, Marcus. Great finish from the Bont. Leading his team home tonight. Keeps the finals hopes alive. So back in the middle, 49-point lead. English will tap out the back. Taranto did well, found Pickett. He went to go give a handball about 3 times. Eventually just went and kicked it. Inside the forward 50, Cumberland finally takes the mark. Got hands to the ball a couple of times in this quarter, Noah Cumberland, but he finally grabs one. So now Cumberland had a shot a while ago now. A set shot and he hooked it really far to the left, kicked it on the full. Not too much angle to speak of here. Came off the boot terribly. And it's through for a point. So English gives it off back to Dale. Gets a little kick off his toe. Wasn't the best kick at all. McRae did well to fight it out the side towards Smith. But did well there, the Tigers, to worry him out of it. Coulthard's handball wasn't the best though. Dale to Smith and now English. Dragged down there was Daniel. Did well there, McIntosh. McRae gets the little handball towards Smith, and now Williams works it at the back to Johannesson to get it through hands. Not the best handball from Johannesson, but Dale has all the time in the world to work the kick down the wing. Working hard with Liberatore, tapped it out of the grasp of Taranto. Now Smith trying to get through. Great tackle from Taranto. They'll be holding the footy Tigers' way. 48 points the difference at the moment. Taranto now kicks it back inside the forward 50. Tim English was pushed out of that. Probably get the free kick. And he will. English in short to Dre, who just got him in the end. Going up there was Bolter, couldn't grab it. Now McRae dragged down there from Pickett. English couldn't gather it. Now Matt McRae dragged down there from Taranto. Be another stoppage. Sorry if I sound too excited, but this game's been... I think it's been a pretty crap game, to be honest. I mean, the Bulldogs blitzed them in the first quarter, and the Tigers really haven't done much with it since. I mean, if you're a Bulldogs fan, you'd be happy. I don't know if this exactly means you're going to make finals, though, because they've got a bit of a tough run home. They've got the Eagles in one of the next three games. They've got Hawthorn down in Tassie, and their last game's against Geelong at home, down in Geelong. So 2 really hard games there. But tonight they've made a bit of percentage back, so if they can hold this lead or maybe even make it a little bit greater, that would really help their finals push as well. The Tigers now, though, are done. They had to win this game to keep their finals hopes alive, and they really haven't shown up. I mean, they fought back a little bit in the second term, but couldn't convert, and since then they've just kind of given up, so... Pretty disheartening from Tigers fans. They would have thought at the start of the year that they'd be fighting back, and they just really haven't. Coulthard got a high one. He'll get the free kick at 50. Plays on here, Cumberland. Drives it towards goal from 50. He's got it, I think. No, he's hit the post. Natural Law, reeling and running, looking for an option. He found Johannesson, wasn't 15. Natural Law working it at the back. Tries towards Dale. He's been good tonight. Down the wing, good kick, finds Dre, takes a good mark. Dre in short to Trelaw, who's kept on running all night. Gives off the handball immediately. Now Johannesson, about to get dragged down, eventually got the kick away. Long ball to 3-on-1 here for the Dogs. And Norton takes the mark. So Arthur Jones has been subbed in here for the Bulldogs, and Anthony Scott has been subbed out with concussion. So Aaron Norton now, he runs in towards goal. Pretty nice run up, nails the goal. And the Bulldogs just keep chugging along here. 53 points the difference. Game high for the Dogs. So right now, let's have a look at the live ladder. Can we look at that? There's my phone. In my pocket. Where is the ladder? Where? So at the moment, the Bulldogs right now would be 5th on the ladder with percentage of 109. So that's actually pretty good because they beat St Kilda, who's currently on the same wins and percentage, obviously if the Bulldogs go and win this game, which I think is obvious now. And the GWS, they've got a better percentage than them as well. So they really need to keep their percentage higher than those two, because those two are probably the teams that are fighting for their top 8 spot right now, along with Carlton. But Carlton is a little bit different because they've got a draw. So the teams fighting for the 8 right now are Geelong, Sydney, Richmond, of course, Adelaide, and Essendon and Gold Coast, but probably to a lesser extent because they are 2 wins out of the 8. And to be fair, the Tigers are only 1 win out of the 8. However, if the Swans or the Cats win this weekend, and Carlton for the other example, if they win these weekend, these guys, so Carlton have against St Kilda, so massive game for them. Sydney have GWS, so that's a big game, and the Cats. So look, to Richmond's credit, if all 3 of them lose, they have a chance. As well as even the Giants. Yeah, so basically they need they need Sydney and... They basically need... If anything, they need the Giants to beat Sydney to have a chance, in my opinion. It looks a little bit too hard for the Tigers now. Broad breaks out of the tackle, gives it off to Graham. Now Banks gives off the handball, finds McIntosh, he works it out wide. Miss Coulthard, working hard to try and get it back on it. Eventually does well, gets it forward towards the 50. Daniel did nicely, took a contested mark again. He's done 2 tonight. Sends it down the middle. Bulldogs want to go with run again. Now West switches towards the 50. Jones sported away from him, from Vloston. Now Liberatore breaks past Pickett. Sends the ball out towards the pocket. Not the best looking kick. Bolted it well. Now Vloston got a high one. Sends it down the wing. Not the best looking kick from Vloston. Gathered well, though, from Banks. Got dragged. In fact, it was short. Just got the kick forward, but it went out of bounds. Did well in the Nankervis, Taranto. Taranto got put down behind play, so he'll get the free kick forward. In fact, no, we'll come back to him, in fact. So, Taranto, defensive side of the wing, goes in short, finds Banks. Goes out wide, finds Short. Now Daniel gets the football, sends a high ball towards the middle of the ground. Young probably should have marked it. Did want to keep it in front of him though. Towards 50, McRae did well. Now Williams has some time and space. Kicks the ball in short, finds Johannesson. In short, the Williams. Just trying to take the right bold sting out of this one right now, the Dogs. In short, finds Vandermeer. Wheels around, does well, gets it forward. Bontempelli couldn't mark. Now Bolter did well to break past a couple of defenders. Gets the 1-2 from his captain in Nankervis. They keep on going through hands to the Tigers. McIntosh sends it down the wing to a about 1-on-4. In fact, not in Cumberland's favour. Did well to fight hard for it. Did well to get it out. Soldo towards Graham. Keeps it in front of him. Just wasn't clean with it. Now Bolton breaks past one. Little bit of a highlight late in the third quarter. Finds it to Bolton. Inside out of job. Nails it. There's a highlight for you, Tigers fans. Great goal there from Bolton. It's really disappointing for the Tigers because tonight they would be in the 8 if they won this game. And now they're probably going to miss the finals. Who do the Tigers have in their last 3 games? Oh, fuck. I'm just going to have a quick look. The Tigers in the last 3 games of the season have St Kilda next week, which is a massive game. Obviously, both teams fighting for the top 8 spot. North Melbourne at home, so that's pretty much a win. And then Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, so that's pretty much a loss. So basically, they can only bank on 1 win for the rest of the season, the Tigers. So I don't think they'll make it. So a free kick will go to Waitman in the middle of the ground. Free kick for holding the ball. Players on, sends the ball inside the forward 50. Leading up there was Bugle-Hagan, couldn't grab it. Now McIntosh dragged down there from Williams, worried out of it. Now Norton pushes his kick, but leading back towards the top of the goal square is Bontempelli. Who else? He plays on now as well for number 3. Bontempelli drives it home. Massive third quarter from the big captain. And they cracked the 100. English still tap down, going towards Pickett. Couldn't gather it cleanly. Now Bolton gives it off to Nankervis. Dragged down. Another goal's coming in for the Dogs. Liberatore over the top. Great work there from Bolton to work back onto it. West wanted it more though. Now to Waitman. Snaps towards goal. Marked in the goal square. Marked by Broad. So it looks like Bontempelli's been pushed forward here, basically resting him for the remainder of the match. They don't want an injury from him, obviously. Rioli, low kick towards Bolter. Should have marked it. We didn't want it really that much. Now Liberatore gives it off to Norton. The siren's about to go. And Norton kicks it on the full. So at 3/4 time, guys, the scores are 16-7, 103 to the Dogs. Lead the Tigers 7-8, 50. What a fucking drubbing. Alrighty, guys, so at 3/4 time, leading disposal getter on the ground is Adam Treloar's been very good tonight. 24 to both Liberatore and Bontempelli, 21 to Bailey Dale, and then 20 to Jaden Short, rounding out the top 5. And if the AFL Fantasy watchers out there, we have Marcus Bontempelli with 117, Liberatore with the 102, Treloar with the 90, English with the 81, and then Dale with the 75, rounding out the top 5. Bum, 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 bum. Is anyone watching this game with interest anymore? I don't think anyone is. Could they? Surely not. Fuck me. I thought there'd be a really good close game tonight, but fuck me. So final quarter now, guys, is underway. Now Curvis wins it down. The Tigers will get the first clearance, it looks like. No, great tackle there from English on Taranto. Just got the hands free. Now Treloar gets it out towards who else but Bontempelli. He gives it off to his right-hand man in Deliberatore. Inside the forward 50. Bolter gets in front. Running through there is Jones. Broke through one tackle. Now Jamara. A chance for number 5. It goes towards goal on the line to Rioli. Takes the mark. So Rioli in short, finds Broad. In short to find Vlosten. He plays on now, in the middle of the ground, dangerous kick. Norton cuts it off. Well on there from Curvis though. On the ground nicely. Prestier sends a high ball towards half-back and finds Short. He immediately goes down the wing, good kick. Ross has the ball on the wing now. Was probably the best Tiger at half-time. So now Taranto, about 80 out from goal. Yawn. Plays on now, sends an absolute tumble punt towards the forward 50. English, happy to spoil that one away, out of bounds. Treloar trickles it forward towards Bolter. And Lob fighting hard. Bolter comes back in the middle of the ground. Always has that little burst of speed. Kick was a bit dangerous though. Great ball there from Treloar. Now McRae handles it inside to Daniel, who has some space. Doesn't have many options though. Getting almost dragged down there from Rioli. Gets it inside the forward 50. Bounces past Vlosten. They'll be able to run it through hands here. Norton towards Rory Lobb. who jams another one home, sends it into the third tier. Unlucky bounce there for Vlosten. But the Tigers have been off all night. And another goal there for the Bulldogs. Little tap down there, Nankervis coming through there, Trelaw. A couple of players diving in. It'll be another stoppage in the middle of the ground. Nankervis, little tap out towards Williams. He gathers it nicely. Snap across his shoulder, did nicely. Good mark there from Jones. He has a chance to play on now. That's where he goes. Has a leading player towards the goal square. It's Norton. Gets out the back of him. Bolter gets there first. Taps it away towards Ross. Great turn of speed. Great tackle, though, from Poulter. Gets it away. Now Prestier has some time. Wheels around on the right boot. Sends it out of the defensive 50, but it will be coming back. Good mark from Richards. Gives it off to Daniel. Daniel gets a little land ball, but a little bit dangerous there to Williams. Hugo Hagen will get a free kick down the field, it looks like. Looks like someone got pushed behind play. It will be a Bulldogs free kick down the field. Yeah, so Ross knocked down Vandermeer as he kicked it. So I got 4 goals in the first quarter. Been pretty quiet since. A chance here to get his 5th. Not much pressure on him now. Game is one and done. But he comes in now. Looks pretty good off the boot. Will it make the distance? No. Kicked it very high there, Hugo Hagen. A bit of a weird kick. Didn't make the distance and spoiled through for a point. So McIntosh in the back pocket. Finds Vlosten. Wants to get it back though. McIntosh always keeps on running. Ball down the wings. A poor kick. Bontempelli cuts it off. So Bontempelli now inside. Good kick. Finds Liberatore, who immediately goes into the pockets. English in Jamara. English decides to take it. And the Bulldogs are all over the Tigers at the moment. 60-point lead. The Tigers know they're done. And this could get really, really ugly in the next 10 minutes. Tigers don't have a very good percentage to begin with. That's another big reason why it doesn't look like they're going to be able to make finals also. They do have that draw obviously in hand, but at this point, I don't think that's going to make a lot of difference. We're back with the game. Tim English about 25 metres out. Slightish angle, comes in, leaves it out to the right a little. It fades back nicely. And that's his first for the night, Tim English. So their percentage is now 109.9, which is better than Port Adelaide, who are currently in second right now. So, I mean, that's pretty good for the Dogs. They got a good big win a couple of weeks ago against the Bombers, and they got a good win. They're going to get a good win tonight. So they hold off the Saints and the Giants. The Giants are obviously in very good form, 7 wins in a row. So they're alright at the moment. The Saints are the issue, though. So a massive game in a couple of weeks against them. From the tap downs, Bolton gets held without it. He'll get the free kick. Plays on now, Bolton. Wheels around, goes into the pocket. One-on-one is Soldo. Couldn't mark it. Gets it down, Williams. Did well now. Dragged down from a couple of Tigers. Soldo wins it down, coming through nicely. Another stoppage. Soldo taps it out the back towards Waitman. Soldo down towards Liberatore. He gets snapped out of the defensive 50. Will be coming back though. And then Curvis takes the mark on 50. Oh, free kick's been ripped out. We'll go to McRae. A lot of crowd has been cleared out of this one. I think the Tigers fans will be very disappointed with tonight. Sends the ball down. The wing up goes Bolter. Takes the mark. Into the middle of the ground finds Rioli. Rioli into short to Young. That was about 5 metres. So he wheels and goes long towards Soldo. Got the hands up. Probably should have done better. Now Ross can't get it free. Duray towards Vandermeer. English through hands. They do nicely, the Dogs. Now Richards. Runs away. Takes a bounce. Long ball down the wing. Broad. Push lob under it. Then left it behind. Great tackle from Bontempelli on McIntosh. Drags him down. Soldo taps it towards the boundary line, and they'll do it again. Both ruckmen miss it. Bolton tries to duck out of the English tackle. Soldo trying to win it down. Bontempelli did nicely. Sends the ball down towards the forward 50. Run towards the boundary line. And the umpire calls deliberate. Whatever. That was a shit decision. So now Young plays on. Sends a long ball down the wing. 2-on-2. Here's Soldo. Couldn't get there. Good read there from Pickett. Gathered the spoil and then kicks it inside the forward 50. Finds Bauer. So Jacob Bauer for his first goal in AFL footy. Tucked up in the pocket. He comes in. Nice looking run up. Looks like he holds that right goalpost, but he sneaks it home. Nice debut goal there for Jacob Bauer. And the teammates get over to him, which is great to see. Obviously not his debut goal. It's his first goal in AFL footy. I just fucked it up because... who cares? Not many people... I don't think many people are you fucking watching now. You know what, guys? I'm getting to the point where this is getting fucking really sick of it. You know what, guys? I'm going to end the stream here. I know it's not over, but... look, it's Friday night. I got some stuff to do tomorrow. I'm pretty tired. I appreciate you guys watching the stream today. As you can clearly see, the Bulldogs are going to win this one. They're up by 60 points at the moment. So... you know, good win by the Bulldogs. They keep their finals hopes alive with this win. I don't think they've sealed them just yet, but it's going to be a pretty close race. If you want my 3 votes, I mean, I don't think it's going to change from here. Bontempelli gets the 3. Liberatore probably gets the 2. And then at this stage, it's Treloar with the 1. But if Ugelhagen can get maybe 1 or 2 more goals, I'll give it to him. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the stream for today. I'll catch you all next time.